what we know about our child, what is his preference, what is his way of learning, the type of environment conducive to better development. Last but not the least, what we expect our child to be able to achieve or what we want our child to become. Hello all. I have listed down some principles and steps to follow to achieve best through our parenting. It is based on what we know about our child, what is his preference, what is his way of learning, the type of environment conducive to better development. Last but not the least, what we expect our child to be able to achieve or what we want our child to become. First principle. We have to believe that our children are inherently good, capable and trustworthy. Our children come into the world underdeveloped, physically, mentally, socially and emotionally as well. It's natural that they make poor choices, act in a selfish and immature way. We may also sometimes get irritated with their poor choices, immature behavior and conclude that they are bad, incapable and untrustworthy. Once we believe this, then we may start showcasing this by using wrong words, reactions and behavior. This may have a very negative impact on them and they may also start believing that they are incapable. This ruins their confidence and self-esteem. That is why we must think 10 times before reinforcing any negative comments on them. We should always keep in mind that they are capable, good and trustworthy. We should keep on reaffirming this every now and then so that it reflects in our behavior and communication with them. This would make our kids be more confident when they believe that we trust and believe in them. These positive assumptions would make them act with respect and trust rather than fear and distrust. And we would like our children to do things meaningfully and not forcefully. It's not about seeing rosy picture or denying the problem, but trying to understand the behavior within and trying to give chance to goodness within their hearts to come out. So we must keep affirming and supporting it with necessary actions. Principle 2. Always keep in mind that limits and consequences teach children wisdom and responsibility. Parents exercise authority by setting limits and allowing children to learn from consequences. Example, if you don't come on time for lunch, you may have to stay hungry or not get the food item of your preference. Let's take one more example. If you forget doing homework, you will earn a bad remark. But what does not work is shouting and screaming. We need to allow our kids to experience the consequences for the choices they have made. Our children learn wisdom and responsibility through the limits and consequences and not by preaching and nagging. We should follow the V principle of parenting while setting structure and framework. Look at the shape of V. Follow it. When children are young, put more structures, limits, frameworks for them. And as they grow older, lessen the limits, structures and framework. This way, they will learn to become independent, mature and responsible adults. But if you insert the inverted V, which means that you are more relaxed when they are young and then as they grow old, if you start reinforcing more limits, structures on them, they will be rebellious and get irritated. Principle 3. We should grow ourselves first. Biggest challenge is not our children's behavior, but our own, the emotional reactivity we have. When we are emotionally reactive, we start using immature words and actions, which causes our children to be defensive and self-protective. So they fail to learn from their mistakes. Being defensive is a natural instinct of all living beings. It's not about making our kids different, but it starts with making ourselves to be different. Child needs parents who are calm and loving, but they are firm and consistent. Principle 4. It's crucial instance model. Normally, we have lot of communication and interactions with our children on day-to-day basis. These interactions are very normal and obvious in nature. However, we have more significant instances happening as they have the potential to teach our children something, and this I called as crucial instances. Crucial instances are the situations or troubled events which present a challenge in front of us. It is an instant which can be potentially upsetting for us and demands a response from us. We cannot not respond to a crucial instance. The question here is, are we conscious and fair when we are responding, or do we just react during the crucial instance without giving much thought? Let me give you some examples of crucial instances. A student studying in 3rd grade comes home and announces that he hates school and is never going to go back to the school. Or you have a son that refuses to turn off the TV or stop playing on the phone, and he refuses to help you with the household work. Another crucial instance would be your teenage child is returning home late or on a regular basis and has developed number of bad habits. Your children, or maybe your children, has started yelling and answering back very rudely. These are all examples of crucial instances. What I mean when I say you cannot not respond to crucial instances? A crucial instance is a challenging moment. It provides you opportunity to teach something to your child. As these crucial instances are not normal, they are little demanding and upsetting in nature. We have seen that children learn lessons depending upon how we respond. We need to learn how to respond in positive ways, in ways that help our children learn, grow, and take responsibility for themselves. When we choose to respond out of trust, we extend strengthening behavior towards our children that boosts empathy, responsibility, and honesty between us and our child. And the consequences of this is very positive. It also solves the problem on a permanent basis. It increases the self-worth and also increases personal responsibility and the ability of the children to manage their lives. I will make a separate video to especially explain you about the crucial instance in depth. Now, principle 5, not to overmanage. Let's see what is overmanaging. There are many ways of overmanaging, like lecturing, arguing, criticizing, getting them married off, threatening them, comparing them, blaming them, and nagging them. All these are weakening behaviors and more harmful than helpful. We need to understand and learn to control ourselves at crucial instances. Most parents run out of patience during these crucial instances and start lecturing. Many parents also start arguing with their children during the crucial instances. When we argue, we get caught up in verbal battle with our children, where instead of understanding our children's point of view, these kind of arguments further ruin our relationship with our children. Some parents also start criticizing their children. Criticizing may make the child feel attacked and leave scars on child's psyche. If your child feels attacked, then he will start running away from parent, and that's not what we want, right? Some parents start becoming mad on their children. They start yelling, hitting, or shouting. He either becomes too scared or starts to feel very shameful. Now, guided independence is all about growing children with good self-esteem. Another worst thing which parents could do is start comparing their kids with someone else. Pointing out differences between one child and another to make him feel bad is a very immature thing to do. It teaches your children bad values. So avoid comparing two children. Even blaming or threatening children is a very harmful way of treating children. These all are ways of overmanaging. In all these ways, we use power, manipulations to our kids. We actually use these when we feel fearful, anxious, and lose our trust in natural goodness and capabilities of our children. Sixth principle, refrain from overindulging. Now let's understand what is overindulging. Overindulging can be done in many ways, like hovering. It's being overly aware and responsive to a child's every move. It's failure to allow her the physical or emotional space to make choices or act on her own. Sympathizing. This way, communicating pity for what a child is going through. It is different from empathy. They reward him for feeling bad rather than taking action. Avoiding. It's withdrawing into ourselves and leaving our children without support, structure, or guidance because we are uncertain or overwhelmed by their needs. Catering. Giving in to a child's whims and wishes. Bending over backwards to keep him happy and making sure that things go his way so he won't be upset. Fixing. It's solving a problem or doing for a child what she could and she should be able to do for herself. Making a bed, choosing clothes, talking to a teacher. Rescuing. It's trying to make a child feel better by undoing consequences or not allowing a child to face the consequences of his actions or choices. Protecting. It means preventing a child from facing the reality of life by not letting her engage in experiences that involve social, emotional, or even physical risk. Flip-flopping. It's setting us boundary and then renegotiating because it was not convenient. You do this because you think that the kid pushed back or you thought you were being harsh. Pleading. Begging kids to do what you want rather than expecting and letting them be responsible. Bribing. Making a promise to do something or give the child something to get him to do what you want. Something he should probably doing anyway. Giving in. Wearing down as you hear whining or complaints. Letting a child do what she wants to avoid. Enforcing a boundary. It is easier. So, these ways parents overindulge. We give children too much power or reward their bad behaviors rather than letting them face consequences and learn responsibility. We are trying to keep them happy and so end up giving away our parental authority. Children get message like, I have to get my way to feel okay. Limits do not apply to me. Someone else will make things better for me. No one is more powerful than me. We must avoid all this behavior as they lay foundation for weakening behaviors amongst you and your child. 7th principle. Develop honesty. Speak the truth. It is disclosing our own feelings or point of view or giving feedback and getting concerns on table so we can talk about sensitive topic in a way that helps our children and relationships grow. The intent is to help our children face up to the reality, make good decisions and learn to cooperate with others. Honesty skills require parents to be honest and speak the truth about their own feelings and perceptions always with an intent of helping. We use this skill to give children a feedback. We also use them to get sensitive topics out on table so that we can get solutions which are acceptable to both. Speaking truth is not always easy. It requires self-awareness and personal control. In other words, a willingness to make what I feel inside to match with what I say and do on the outside. So it requires us to be compassionate to a child. Does not hurt by what we say, but we must also ensure that we are able to express our feelings and familiarize children with truth. Principle 8. Inculcate empathy. Create safe and trusting conditions. It is creating an atmosphere of love, empathy and respect. It lets children know that we value and accept them even though they have weaknesses and they make mistakes. Creating such an environment is deeply nourishing and allows our children to feel good about themselves and explore their thoughts and feelings as they learn to make good decisions. Empathy can be inculcated by respecting, seeing the goodness and uniqueness of the child, allowing them to be who they are, joining them in their world, allowing them to have their opinions, letting them be imperfect. Principle 9. Instill responsibility. It involves skills that teach our children to become self-governing and claim ownership of their life. It is an alternative to telling, rescuing or doing for our children what they need to learn to do for themselves. They help children step into driver's seat of their life. In our upcoming video, I will share with you what are the learning styles and how you can take benefit of them to better your child's learning process. In case if you have missed our other videos, you may click on the links below. As usual, you can connect with me for queries and consultation at the number given below. Stay connected, do subscribe to our channel as we would be discussing various child and youth developmental, scientific, psychological theories. Also, we will see their practical applications. Do like, share and comment. Also, let more and more people be aware about the practical application of various psychological theories. Thank you.